In this video, I've put together the most valuable tips in my opinion for helping you get the perfect start to a wipe in Tarkov. Some of the things we'll be looking at is how you can survive more, finish your tasks faster, maximize your experience gains, and I've got a little first day strategy I'll be sharing with you at the end of the video. So let's jump straight into it. Your number one priority in raids needs to be surviving. At least early on. I know this might sound stupid, since obviously survival is the goal, but you'd be surprised at how many people tend to make plays that's not exactly aimed towards surviving. Once you're in the middle of the action, it can be easy to forget the number one goal of survival and instead try to fight somebody. It might be that there's loot on the table, maybe you already killed a PMC or two and are not wanting to leave that loot behind. But you should really try to avoid PvP unless you're on a task that requires it. For one, PMC loot is not all that interesting early wipe. You'd much rather get out with a backpack full of items that you'll need for tasks or your hideout. So instead of always engaging, try to let the other guys pass by you so you can continue on your raid safely. If you are being pushed, you should try to fall back, or sometimes if you are stuck in a spot, using VoIP can work surprisingly well. I don't remember who, but I once heard someone say that you should play Tarkov like a survival game, not an FPS shooter. Let that sink in for a second. Finding your pace and staying as safe as possible through the raid is different for everybody. You'll see the experienced players sprint across the map heading straight for the objectives, but doing this yourself is very likely to get you killed quickly. I often see people saying they've died 15 times trying to get the stopwatch on customs, and I think some of this can be attributed to tunnel vision. So instead of just beelining it, take time to scope out the areas you come up on, loot up when you have the chance, and just don't be in a rush to get through the raid. If you're still learning the maps, I recommend loading up mapgenie.io on your phone or a second monitor. This way you can customize each of your raids into a little loot run as well. Also, don't be afraid to skip past your quest if the area seems to be too unsafe. Getting out alive, potentially with items that you'll need for tasks or your hideout, is a win in itself. So to summarize, stay alive. Easier said than done, I know, but do it by avoiding PvP, finding your own pace, and remembering, above all, to like this video. Alright, so now that we're focused on survival, I also mentioned finding items that you'll need for tasks and your hideout. The hideout is obviously not mandatory, but in my opinion it is. It opens up for crafting with the workbench, lavatory, med station, and nutrition unit, which can be really useful for some of the items that's needed for tasks. And after level 30, the library and air filter will boost the rate at which you level up skills significantly. So to get an idea of the items you'll need, you'll have to use the wiki. They have these awesome pictures set up showing all the things you need to save. And as you can see, there are a lot of items. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to memorize everything that you'll need. Like the rest of us, you'll have to either look to these pictures or do like I did, take out everything that you can carry and search it up once you're back in your stash. Eventually, you'll have a pretty good idea of what to keep and what to leave behind. But this is a time-consuming process either way. Since these pictures might be a bit overwhelming with a lot of items to look out for at once, another thing you can do as well is to go through all of your tasks and your hideout when you load up every day and try to make a mental image of the different task and hideout items you'll be needing. This way you won't have to keep track of as many items at once. You can even write a list to make it easier to remember. The next problem a lot of people run into is storage space, because as we just saw, there are a lot of items that you want to hold on to. Now, the best way to solve this issue is by buying a scav case from Therapist. These cost 1.1 million rubles, which is a lot early wipe, even for me, but it's 100% worth the investment to be able to store all of these items that you'll need for later. A great way to get the rubles you need is by doing factory on your scav. I even did a video on it because I think it's such a great run. It's done in under 10 minutes and you'll easily make it out with 1 to 200,000 rubles. This way you can also get back to your PMC quickly, which is where you'll want to be to level up your skills and progress on your tasks. A cheaper alternative to the scav case is to use rigs, either ones that you find or buy, to get some extra storage space. This isn't nearly as effective as the scav case though. Okay, this is going great. We're surviving raids, we're looting and saving items that we'll need. The next thing we're going to add on top is to maximize the experience we are getting from everything we do pretty much. Getting headshots gives a little more than double experience, so practice those one taps. Going to loot a body will also give you experience as soon as you've hit search. To add to this, you can use this as an indicator for whether or not it's even worth looting a scav. Anything under 100 XP and I usually move on right away. This also forces me to tell you guys to stop looting every single scaff that you kill or see. This is probably the #1 mistake I see newer players do, when what you really want to do after making noise fighting a scaff is leave the area, because there might be players headed towards you. Just wanted to add that. Moving on, you can pick up every single item that you come across and drop it again. Looting the item is what gives you the experience. This one isn't a bad habit to get, because it will also make you move a bit slower, giving everyone else more time to move through the raid. You should only be doing this when you are in the safety of a building or behind cover though. You should also be eating and drinking every chance you get while you are in raid. Even if you're only missing 10 energy or hydration, if you come across some food or drink, use it right away. When you come out of raid, therapists will offer to heal your injuries. But if you've got the meds for it, grizzlies in particular are great for this, you should use that instead, since it will grant you experience where a therapist will not. If you're playing in a group, you can also drop your backpacks when you get to the extract and let everyone search everything. Just make sure you're safe before you all begin searching. The main one out of all of these is going to be headshots though. If you can consistently land headshots, that is going to be a lot of extra experience. But combining everything will also add up in the long run. Before we get to my first day strategy, I just quickly want to mention a couple more tips without going in depth with them. At level 5, daily tasks should become available, and while I don't recommend hunting these early on, they do sometimes line up with your current objectives, so might as well do them on the way. For weapons, I'll be doing a more in-depth video on level 1 builds, but my own favorites are the Mosin with LPS ammo, VPO 215 or VPO 209 with EKO ammo, or the Keta with PST GCH ammo. Nighttime raids are awesome for tasking, and if you don't mind the darkness, you'll be much less likely to run into players. Keys can be a big issue, so joining a community Discord and asking for help is not a bad idea. I have one with a link down in the description. We're a small but very friendly community, so come join if you want. And now for the first day strategy I promised you guys. So lately I've been running a lot of streets, and the amount of scaffs on that map is honestly ridiculous. Right now, before wipe, you can easily rack up anywhere between 30 and 40 scaff kills in a raid without even trying too hard for it. That's why I'm planning on doing at least 2 or 3, maybe even more runs on the first day, hopefully coming out with a huge amount of XP and items that I'll be needing. However, seeing as we are getting the first expansion to streets with this coming wipe, there is a risk of streets performing really poorly like it did on release. Fingers crossed it won't though. So I'll be trying to get a nice little boost early on, and I just wanted to share that plan with you guys. I stream over on Twitch Tuesday to Friday from 1 PM, and once wipe hits, I'll be live way more for a while. There's a link in the comments. If you're struggling with finding items like Saluas, gas analyzers and flash drives, then check out this video. And thank you for watching.